What's up, brownies? Now, as a truth teller, I was going to have to come and tell the truth about this movie because the first thing I got to do is call out all of these influencers who are apparently on the payroll. Y'all did all of this hyping this movie up. These are the costumes that I'm wearing. This is me dancing to Michael's. This is me headed out to the movie premiere. This is me on the red carpet. Did you notice how a lot of them went radio silent after they actually saw the movie? What was your feedback? What was your review? Tell us how great it was. So either they refused to tell that lie altogether, or they got back on the internet and tried to talk around the subject and tried to make it seem like, oh yeah, this movie was great and I cried. Girl, you cried because you wasted your money. But what I couldn't figure out is how y'all couldn't tell that the movie was going to be garbage just from the trailer. It already looked wrong, but mostly it was unnecessary. Now, as a millennial, I grew up watching that the Jacksons, that miniseries that they did when I was a child, that came out. So why was this even necessary? We already saw this. It was already done well. And then also it was done while MJ was alive, and MJ handpicked, lest we forget, handpicked Jason Weaver to play a young Michael and do the real vocals and the singing and all of that. So we already did this before. It was completely unnecessary, especially when you consider the disrespect of continuing to choose biracials and put them in blackface, or a new one that we had this time, which is beige face, which I didn't even know was a thing. We've already told you all, as the blacks, we don't want to see another biracial, a non-black person play a real life living and breathing black person. We told you this when y'all let Zoe Saldana play Nina Simone. That was awful, and I see the same mistakes being made. First and foremost, these wigs. We can do Afro-textured hair better than this. Y'all really went down to Tyler Perry Studios and said, give me the reject wigs that was so bad that even you wouldn't use them. And then from there, we just gonna use some daycare carpet and whatever we can sweep up from a barbershop floor, get us a glue stick and mat it together and slap this on these biracial people's heads and use that as it's disrespectful. So from the makeup and the Afro-textured hair and these prosthetic noses, enough already. I absolutely hate it. Why don't you just get a black person with a full nose to play these roles? I don't care who nephew you are, but he did a good job playing his uncle, so I can tolerate that. But for young Michael, we gonna have to talk. Where are y'all getting these old-faced children from? Now, I've seen this young man, and he looked handsome and talented. And now, once you actually get to the movie, once you put that bad makeup and that bad wig on this kid, he looked just as old in the face as the kid that they got to play in John Q. Where are y'all getting these tall-headed, grown-faced children that look like they got mortgages and a family to feed? I hate it so much because when you combine bad makeup and a bad wig, it looked like y'all just took whatever makeup y'all was gonna use for the thriller scenes and let these people wear it the whole time. Because what could the other explanation possibly be for the way Coleman Domingo with his handsome self looked in this movie? Y'all are outrageous for this. It looked like a cross between the PJs and Leprechaun in the Hood. This man is gonna haunt my dreams, because you all could have just as easily gotten Michael Beach or Jeffrey Wright to play this character. But instead, you got another biracial. You got an Afro-Latino man that's dark-skinned, and you put him in beige face. Now, this is a new level of disrespect. Where y'all get this from? But once again, this was out of pocket. You could see this from the trailer that this was going to be wrong. And as a matter of fact, for the way that you all did the movie, you may as well have called it Michael Joseph as a play on words, not just his first name and middle name, but also for the fact that it was just as much about Joseph as it was about Michael. Just call the movie Michael Joseph, because what seems like is a Jackson family trait is taking a little bit too much credit for other people's talent or overstating what your importance or contribution was to a situation. There seems like it's a lot of that going on in that particular family. Because to listen to Jermaine in some of these interviews about the movie, you would have really thought that next to Michael, he was the second most important Jackson, or that the Jackson 5 was the second biggest act that came out of the Jackson family, when we know that the real stars of the Jackson family were Michael and Janet specifically. So all of this extra that he's doing and trying to hype up, but I guess, like he said in the interviews, he's just a proud father. And a lot of people are agreeing that Jafar did a great job. But Jermaine, just please go sit down. We're sick of your hair. We're sick of your costumes. You out here looking like Count Chocula. We're sick of your behavior. We hate the fact that, first and foremost, you named this son after a Disney villain, and then the rest of your sons, you named just weird J names to the point that it sounds like Tony Childs when she kept messing up Maya's son's name in Girlfriends. Now, if you really black, you get that reference. And speaking of blackness, when even having Nia Long in a movie can't save it, when we can't even ride for Nia Long because y'all didn't utilize her properly in the movie, I think, you know that the movie is garbage. And then we should have known that it wasn't going to be all of that when we heard that Janet wasn't really on board from the beginning. And also, we heard that her and Jermaine got into a little back and forth at the private screening for the family. But get into this interview.
I felt that Jafar had it in him, and I wanted him to really know what he was going up against, because Michael's shoes are a tough set of shoes to fill. But at the same time, I know Jafar, he's been just a wonderful human being and a very true talent. Sports, anything he can do if he put his mind to it. But I'm just the most proudest father ever. I feel like my father, when we were doing our thing, Daryl Curry, James Jordan, I feel like those fathers. And I'm very proud. I'm very, very proud. I've seen it before through the mini-series that we did, but at the same time, I think Jafar was just unbelievable from what I've seen, because he became Michael. I told him, if you do this role, we want to see Michael in you. I feel that myself, Tito, Jackie, Marlon, Michael, we had a career that was so strong that we had 4 number 1 records in a row, but we set the foundation for all the Jackson legacy, everything. Then there came Janet, there came individual careers in LaToya, Rebe, this one and that one, but it was all because of the Jackson 5. The family is a family, and at the same time, the legacy is so important. And I'm so proud of Jafar because he's a continuation of Michael's legacy, which comes from the Jackson 5. And at the same time, this is a wonderful night, a celebration for Michael, for Jafar, and that's why I'm here. And I have to say, Graham King did an incredible job in Antoine Fuqua as well in Lionsgate, and Universal was an incredible team. So it was a win-win-win, and they passed the ball to Jafar, and he made a touchdown, I feel.
Jermaine, listen, we're going to have an intervention at this point. You need to stop. Now, we already talked about you in a previous video about this hair that you won't just let go of and dressing weird and all of that. But this face is just ridiculous. Were you in the movie? Did they use the Thriller makeup on you before you did this interview? Because it literally looks like you could just peel this man's face off if you just catch that little fold by the ear and pull it forward. You can peel this man's whole face off. I hate it so much. If you really feel like the Jackson 5 made you a living legend and all of this other stuff, this hair and makeup is not legendary. It's giving Thriller. And I'm not thrilled. You need to stop. Then you didn't compared yourself to all of these basketball dads and then said he made a touchdown at the end of your little speech. Child, listen, I understand that you are proud of your son. You know, anybody would be. Everybody has said that, you know, Jafar did do a good job, you know, at portraying his uncle or whatever in the movie. So I'm not saying that the boy can't sing and dance and that he disrespected the legend of his uncle. I'm just simply saying that this movie, number one, should not have been made. And number two, as a whole, the movie was not good. That's it, and that's all. Now, y'all go ahead and hype this video up because you know that the algorithm is not going to push it. Y'all go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. It's free to do, and it only takes you a second.